My landlord knows everything that's happening inside my apartment. I think he is watching me. I am a 26 female, living alone for the first time. My landlord has always felt a bit off to me. He is a man in his late 40s and has never been holding back with comments about the way I look, etc. When I moved in, he was very clear about me not touching the 2 fire alarms in my bedroom and hallway. He justified it by saying they were directly connected with the fire department, and if I would try to do anything to them I would cause an alarm. The alarm in my bedroom has always made me feel weird. It makes a lot of noises, especially at night, almost sounding like a remote-controlled car and sometimes making a very muffled beeping sound. I brought it up to him once and he said it was nothing, and if it should make more problems I should call him. But other things kept happening and I just more and more felt like something was off. But at the same time people kept telling me I was overthinking things and scared since it is my first time living alone. The first thing that felt off to me was as I was renovating to move in, I grabbed a wrong shade of the color I wanted for my bedroom and it ended up looking a bit too bright on the wall I tested it on. A few days later during a phone he snapped at my parents about how horrible the pink was I was using in my bedroom and if I was crazy. I had not let him inside my place, so I was very confused, but kind of brushed it off to me walking around in paint-covered clothing. But things got weirder after that. During January last year I spent a day at my parents' and when I came back something felt off. I couldn't pinpoint it and no one was inside my apartment, but I realized after walking into my bedroom a second time one of the drawers under my bed was pulled out and I don't remember ever touching it. Again I brushed it off, mainly BC my parents told me I probably just forgot and I kinda ended up feeling ashamed for ever bringing it up. Months later during the summer, I took part in a gaming night on a friend's Discord server, and when I finally hopped off to go to bed at 4 a.m., I came into my bedroom to see my underwear drawers being open. I panicked and called my mum DC. She lived close by and I wasn't sure if someone was still in the apartment. After that I installed a door chain and got an alarm for the time I spent at home. I suspected my landlord had a second key and now probably wasn't able to get inside anymore. But that didn't cover the time when I was not home. Sometimes when I come back furniture in my bedroom is slightly moved, but at this point, my family keeps telling me I just forgot I moved it and that I am too ashamed to keep bringing it up. I know I sound insane, but is it possible to have cameras installed in the fire alarms? Could I call the fire department at their non-emergency number, just ask if they can take a look at it BC of the weird noises? I really just want my peaceful life back. Constantly knowing someone might have been in here in the past while I slept is really creeping me out and making me want to cry. Do you have any advice on what I should do? My landlord lives in another city. He just owns a bunch of apartments here, but he is here multiple times a week. My plan of action RN is, I am gonna call the fire department tomorrow morning to have them come by, and I have a family friend come by on Monday to put in new locks. I want to check the alarms, but I am not very tall and I don't have a ladder here RN, so I cannot rip them off even though I would love to. Update 1. I had a call with the fire department and they told me the alarm is not connected to them in any way, shape or form and that it is extremely fishy that the one tinkered with is the bedroom one. I also completely forgot I do have a storage room that has an alarm that looks identical to the one in the hallway. They told me to ask around in my friends and family if anyone knows a bit about electricity and have them come by to take it off and take a look inside. They said it's very likely some kind of foul play happened here. Disregarding the camera problem, there is still a fire alarm someone just messed with and didn't fix. My mom's best friend is an electrician and I will try to reach him today to ask if he can come by ASAP. Otherwise, I know he is gonna be around on Monday, so I might have to wait a bit longer. Okay. Nothing weird has happened since then and I am pretty sure I will have more answers until then. The only other thing that I am already doing anyway, was that a neighbor and I were talking and while the topic of safety came up she just said you should change your locks without really knowing anything that happened to me here. Which is not an odd thing to say but just very specific. Update 2. To start this off, no, my landlord wasn't watching me, but this is how I found out that someone still did something with my fire alarms or tried to remove them without contacting the people who actually installed the alarms. I cannot say if it was my landlord or possibly the person living there before me. I did mention a police investigation that ended up being connected to this. Since the entire thing is finally over and I had some time to heal, I will add what happened that was in relation to this. My ex was stalking me and tried breaking into my apartment one night during the time I was still actively updating the Reddit post. I was at home during that time and thankfully was able to scare him off after locking myself in the living room. This was added to an already ongoing investigation against him, so I wasn't able to update this anymore, since there was reason to suspect he might have gotten into my apartment at an earlier point while I wasn't home. I do not know if he was able to possibly get into my apartment while I wasn't home before the night where I was, or if it possibly was my landlord. But everything that happened led to me not feeling safe anymore, and with the lockdown and the ongoing investigation my mental health broke down hard. My PTSD was running overtime and I ended up having to admit myself to a clinic for a while in 2022. I worked a lot on myself and changed things in my life. I am no longer living alone and I am in way better contact with my parents by now. I moved and I feel much better by now. After everything was over I struggled very hard for a while, but with the help of my support system and therapy I made it through that. The years were rough, but I thankfully am in a better place now. And yes, my ex did get punished for what he did. And all the fire alarms got fixed too.